Welcome back. This channel exists because of your support. Subscribe, hit like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Now let's get into the story. The Yingling lager has gone warm in my hand. I notice this the way I notice everything. Cataloging details while the Caldwell family summer party unfolds around me on the terrace of their Chestnut Hill estate. The beer reached room temperature approximately 17 minutes ago, right around the time Derek started his third lecture about cryptocurrency investments to anyone who'd listen. I'm standing near the stone balustrade, watching the family pretend this is a normal gathering. My wife Mallory arrived separately 2 hours ago, straight from work, she said, though the Cartier bracelet on her wrist is new. I didn't buy it. I cataloged this information in the same mental folder where I've been storing other interesting data points over the past 6 weeks. The thing about being a data security analyst is that pattern recognition becomes second nature. Late nights at the office. New lingerie appearing in the laundry. The way her phone is never more than 6 inches from her hand. Screen always facing down. GPS metadata from our shared phone plan showing regular Tuesday afternoon visits to the Hilton Inner Harbor. Deleted text messages that aren't actually deleted if you know where to look in the backup files. Kenneth Brandt, her boss at Helix Pharmaceuticals, vice president of marketing, age 45, married to Margaret, 2 kids, drives a silver BMW 7 Series. I've known about him for exactly 43 days. Vince, you're being antisocial again. Mallory's mother Diane appears at my elbow, her real estate agent smile firmly in place. She's holding a glass of Sauvignon Blanc that probably costs more than my weekly grocery budget. Just enjoying the view, I say, gesturing toward the manicured gardens that slope down toward the pool house. Well, come join the conversation. Richard is asking about your work. I follow her back to the main gathering around the patio table. Mallory is laughing at something Kenneth said. Wait, Kenneth isn't here. She's laughing at something Derek said. Her younger sister Claire is already 3 glasses deep into the Prosecco, her cheeks flushed and her filter completely disabled. There he is, Derek announces as I approach. The man who actually reads terms and conditions before clicking agree. Polite laughter. I've heard this joke before. I am, according to the Caldwell family consensus, terminally boring. Predictable. The kind of person who organizes his work files alphabetically and arrives exactly on time to every event. Vince, settle an argument, Richard says, Mallory's father gesturing with his scotch glass. Derek here thinks cryptocurrency is the future of finance. What's your professional opinion? I could tell him that Derek's recent crypto investment is actually a pyramid scheme that will collapse within 6 months. I could mention that the project he's so excited about has already been flagged by the SEC. But I don't. I think diversification is important, I say instead. No single investment should represent more than 10% of your portfolio. Derek rolls his eyes. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You're so risk-averse, man. Fortune favors the bold. Fortune favors the prepared, I reply, but he's already turned away, launching into another explanation of blockchain technology to Mallory's cousin. I check my watch. 7:43. In about 2 minutes, if the pattern holds, Claire will say something inappropriate. She's been building up to it all evening, her comments getting progressively more pointed. 7:44. 7:45. Hey Vince, Claire says, her voice carrying across the table with the kind of volume that only comes from expensive wine and social immunity. Serious question. When Mallory finally hooks up with Kenneth, are you going to cry about it? Like, publicly? The terrace goes silent. I count it. 2.8 seconds of absolute quiet before the reaction hits. Then laughter erupts. Derek doubles over. Diane actually claps her hands together. Richard chuckles into his scotch. The cousins exchange delighted glances. Mallory's grandmother looks confused, but she's half deaf, so maybe she missed it. Mallory doesn't defend me. Instead, she leans back in her chair, that perfect marketing director smile spreading across her face. The same smile she uses in client presentations. Come on, Claire. That's mean, Simone says quietly. Derek's wife has always been the only person in this family with actual empathy. What? Claire shrugs, grinning. I'm just curious. He's so emotionless about everything. Like, does he even have feelings? Honestly, Mallory says, and I can hear the whine in her voice, the liquid courage. Claire has a point. Vince is basically a statue in bed. Kenneth probably could sweep me away tomorrow, and Vince would just adjust his spreadsheets to account for the change in tax filing status. More laughter. Louder this time. Derek slaps the table. Dude, that's your wife? He manages between gasps, but he's laughing too hard for it to sound like a defense. What? Mallory looks around the table, feeding off their energy. I'm being honest. He's about as passionate as a database. As exciting as watching paint dry on a firewall. I set my beer down on the glass tabletop. The condensation has left a ring that I wipe away with my napkin. I pick up my plate, still half full of the catered salmon and roasted vegetables that Diane spent 20 minutes describing earlier. Standing slowly, I make eye contact with each person around the table. Claire, still giggling. Derek, wiping tears from his eyes. Diane, smiling indulgently at her daughters. Richard, looking vaguely uncomfortable, but not uncomfortable enough to object. The cousins. The aunts. Mallory's grandmother. Simone, the only person not laughing. And Mallory, my wife of 9 years, looking at me with something between amusement and contempt. Understood, I say. Then I walk to my car. Behind me, the laughter falters and dies. I hear someone say, "Wait, is he actually leaving?" But I'm already through the side gate, already pressing the unlock button on my Jeep Compass key fob. The drive back to Baltimore takes 45 minutes. I use the time to run through my checklist one final time, making sure every step of the protocol is ready to execute. I've been planning this for 6 weeks, ever since I confirmed what I suspected about Mallory and Kenneth. The first 3 weeks were reconnaissance and evidence gathering. The last 3 were execution and packing. Tonight was simply the trigger I'd been waiting for. The public humiliation that made everything that comes next completely justified. Our apartment in Federal Hill is exactly as I left it this morning. Mallory's designer shoes are scattered near the door. Her marketing materials are spread across the dining table. The framed photo of our wedding day still hangs in the hallway, both of us smiling at a future that no longer exists. I check my watch. 8:35. The moving truck is parked 2 blocks away, already loaded with everything I care about. I've been packing for 3 weeks, a box here and there, nothing Mallory would notice. She hasn't actually looked at me, really looked, in months. I power down the desktop computer we share, the one Mallory uses to check her email and online shop. I won't need it anymore. Everything important is already backed up to encrypted cloud storage accessible only by me. 8:45. I pull up my banking app and execute the transfer I scheduled 2 weeks ago. $67,000 moves from our joint savings account to my new account at First National of Richmond. It's exactly the amount I've contributed over 9 years of marriage. Not a dollar more. All perfectly legal. 8:50. I call our cell phone provider and remove myself from the family plan. The automated system confirms that Mallory's line will remain active, but mine will be disconnected within the hour. I'd already activated a new number with a different carrier this morning. I cancel the cable subscription, the streaming services, the meal kit delivery that Mallory loves and I never wanted. 9 o'clock. I log into the landlord's portal and submit my 30-day notice to vacate, removing my name from the lease. I'd called Mrs. Henderson 3 weeks ago and explained the situation. She'd been sympathetic and agreed not to mention anything to Mallory until after I'd moved out. The manila envelope goes on the kitchen counter, positioned exactly in the center where Mallory can't miss it. Inside, divorce petition already filed with the court. Asset division spreadsheet showing my legal claim to the funds I withdrew. Evidence packet with time-stamped photos of her and Kenneth at 3 different hotels. Credit card statements highlighting her purchases at Tiffany & Company. Gifts I never received. Recovered text messages where she tells Kenneth that I'll never suspect anything because I'm too oblivious to notice. The final note, printed on plain white paper. Per your suggestion, I've adjusted my spreadsheets. Our marriage is now filed under closed accounts. No further communication necessary. 9:30. I load the last of my personal items into my car. Laptop, clothes, the vintage record collection I started in college, photographs of my parents who passed away years before I met Mallory. Everything else can stay. I don't need much. I drop the apartment keys into the building's mailbox with a small metallic clink that sounds like finality. 9:45. I pull out the new phone I activated this morning, a different carrier entirely, and send a single text to Warren Mitchell, my best friend since college, and the only person who has this number. Ghost. His response comes immediately. Godspeed, brother. Now I remove the SIM card from my old phone and snap it in half, then crush the phone itself under my heel in the parking lot. The screen shatters with a satisfying crack. Tomorrow I'll drop the pieces in separate trash cans across the city, but for now, the destruction is enough. 10 o'clock. I climb into my Jeep Compass, reliable and paid off in full, and point it south toward Richmond. The drive will take just over 2 hours. I've already booked an extended stay hotel room under the name of the consulting company I'll be working for. Legitimate business. Legal employment. A completely fresh start. As I merge onto I-95, my new phone buzzes with a text from Warren. She's gonna lose her mind when she finds out. I type back with one hand, eyes on the road. That's the point. The thing about data security is knowing which information to protect and which to weaponize. I'd been building this exit strategy for 6 weeks, every detail mapped, every contingency planned. They thought I was a statue. Statues don't feel pain, but they also don't forget, and they definitely don't forgive. By midnight, I'm checked into the hotel in Richmond's Shockoe Bottom district. The room is small and anonymous, exactly what I need. I unpack my laptop and log into the monitoring systems I set up weeks ago. The tracking app on Mallory's phone syncs to the cloud, accessible from any device where I'm logged in. The shared credit card alerts feed to my email. The packet sniffer on our home network logs every website visit, every email sent, all stored remotely. I'm not doing anything illegal. Everything I'm monitoring, I have legal access to as her husband. For now, the divorce petition gives her 60 days to respond. If she doesn't, the court will grant an uncontested dissolution. I pour myself a bourbon from the bottle I bought at the liquor store next to the hotel. Time to watch the fallout begin. According to the tracking app, Mallory is at Kenneth's apartment in Harbor East. She went there after the party ended, around 8 p.m. The location data shows she's been there ever since, which means she lied to her family about where she was going after I left. Again, I note the data point, adding it to my growing database. She doesn't come home until 6:45 the next morning. By then, I'm over 100 miles away, drinking coffee in a Richmond diner when my monitoring system alerts me that someone has entered our apartment. I watch through the network logs as Mallory's phone connects to the Wi-Fi, then immediately disconnects. She's found the envelope. 15 minutes pass. Then the calls start hitting my old number, the one that's now disconnected. 12 calls in 20 minutes. Text messages pile up, undeliverable. She tries email, but I've set up an auto-response that bounces everything back. At 7:30, my monitoring system shows her calling her mother, then Claire, then Derek, then her mother again. By 8 o'clock, the Caldwell family group chat that I'm no longer part of is exploding. I know this because Warren is still in it. Mallory added him years ago during a party, and he's sending me screenshots to my new encrypted email account. Derek, what did you do? Claire, oh my God, Mallory, what happened? Diane, Vincent, we need to talk like adults about this. Richard, this is absurd. Call us immediately. Mallory, he's gone. Everything's gone. The money, his stuff, all of it. He left divorce papers. Claire, what do you mean divorce papers? Mallory, he knows about Kenneth. He has photos. He has everything. The group chat goes quiet after that. 3 days later, Mallory shows up at Warren's record store in Fells Point. He texts me a photo of her through the window before she enters. She looks terrible. Unwashed hair, no makeup, wearing sweatpants. This is a woman whose professional image is everything, and she's falling apart. Warren and I have a standing agreement. He'll answer questions, but he won't give me up. Where is he? I can almost hear her voice through Warren's text transcription. No idea, Warren tells her, which is technically true. He knows the city, but not my exact address. You're his best friend. You have to know something. I know you humiliated him in front of your entire family. I know you've been cheating on him for months. I know he's done with all of it. There's a pause in Warren's narration. Then, she tried to tell me she's pregnant. I told her you had a vasectomy 2 years ago. She left crying. I smile at that. The vasectomy was one of many things Mallory never paid attention to. She'd been talking about having kids someday, but never seemed to notice when I stopped agreeing with her timeline. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that notification bell to support this channel so more people can discover these incredible stories. By August, Mallory has hired a private investigator. Warren tells me this over our monthly phone call, a new ritual we've established. The PI spends 3 weeks trying to find me and comes up with nothing. I've scrubbed my digital footprint completely. Social media accounts deleted, not just deactivated. Professional LinkedIn gone. My former employer confirms I resigned via email, but has no forwarding information. The beauty of working in data security is knowing exactly how to disappear. My new job is with a cybersecurity consultancy based in Richmond. They're happy to have someone with my healthcare compliance background, and they don't ask questions about my previous employment beyond the standard reference checks. I work remotely from a small apartment in the Fan District, a neighborhood of historic row houses and tree-lined streets. The apartment is minimal. IKEA furniture, basic kitchen supplies, a mattress from a local warehouse store. Everything I need, nothing I don't. Derek came by the store last week. Warren tells me during our October call. He looked stressed. What did he want? Wouldn't say directly, but I'm guessing money. His wife Simone was with him. She actually apologized for the party. Simone's always had more sense than the rest of them. Mallory's moved in with Kenneth. Warren continues. Well, he's paying for an apartment in Locust Point. They're trying to keep it quiet, but you know how small Baltimore is. I know. I also know that Kenneth is still married to Margaret and has no intention of leaving her. I've been monitoring his credit cards, the ones where Mallory is an authorized user. He pays cash for their dinners now, trying to hide the trail, but cash withdrawals from ATMs create their own patterns. Are you still watching them? Warren asks. I'm a data analyst, War. I watch everything. December brings the first family holiday without me. Warren sends me a photo from Instagram that Claire posted and then quickly deleted. The Caldwell family Christmas dinner, complete with an obviously empty chair at the table. Mallory isn't in the photo. She told her family she had a work conference, but the metadata shows she's actually at a hotel in Annapolis with Kenneth. Derek is drinking heavily in the photo, his eyes red-rimmed. Simone looks miserable. Claire and her fiancé Boyd are sitting stiffly, clearly uncomfortable. Warren calls me that evening. Simone said something interesting at the store today. What's that? She said maybe they should have treated you better. Derek lost his mind, started yelling about how you abandoned your wife over a joke. Simone told him maybe Mallory abandoned the marriage first. How'd that go over? Derek stormed out. Simone stayed and bought a Miles Davis record. Said she needed something calming. By February, Derek's cryptocurrency investment has completely collapsed. Warren hears about it through the neighborhood gossip network. $150,000 gone. That includes the $28,000 I lent him 2 years ago, money he swore he'd repay within 18 months. He shows up at Warren's store on a Tuesday afternoon, desperate. I need to reach Vince, Derek says. Can't help you, Warren replies. It's an emergency. Financial emergency. The loan he gave you? How did you know about that? Vince tells me things. What happened to your sure thing investment? Derek's face crumbles. It was a scam. I need the money back. I need to repay my home equity loan or we'll lose the house. Warren texts me a photo of the business card Derek leaves behind. On the back, in desperate handwriting, Vince, please. I was wrong. I need your help. Call me. I text back to Warren. Month 8. Not yet. April brings Claire's wedding panic. The ceremony is scheduled for mid-June at Marion Cricket Club, a small, elegant affair with 150 guests. Everyone in Philadelphia's mainline social circle will be there, which means everyone will ask about me. Claire tries to reach me via email. The message bounces back, undeliverable. She shows up at Warren's store on a Saturday afternoon, tears already streaming down her face. Please, she begs. I need to apologize to him. You already tried, Warren says, not unkindly. The email bounced. Can you tell him I'm sorry? Can you tell him I was drunk and stupid and jealous? Jealous of what? Of how stable his life was. How secure. I was engaged to a guy who turned out to be cheating on me, and there was Vince, just steady and reliable, and Mallory treated him like garbage. And I hated him for not fighting back. Warren sends me the transcript. I read it twice. Is he okay? Claire asks. Is he even alive? He's fine. Better than fine. Will you tell him about the wedding? I'll tell him. When Warren calls me that evening, I'm sitting in my Richmond apartment, working on a security audit for a hospital system in Northern Virginia. Claire came by, he says, actually crying, really apologizing. Noted. She invited you to the wedding. June 15th. I know. I've been monitoring the planning. Marion Cricket Club, ceremony at 5, reception until 10. There's a pause. Of course you have. Are you going? Depends on how the next 6 weeks develop. Because by May, everything is converging beautifully. Kenneth files for divorce from Margaret on May 3rd. It blindsides her completely. 16 years of marriage, 2 teenage kids, and he claims they've grown apart. He moves into a luxury apartment in Harbor East, the kind of place with a doorman and harbor views. Mallory thinks she's won. I can see it in her credit card charges, the expensive dinners, the new clothes, the deposit on a furniture rental for Kenneth's apartment. But Margaret is smarter than Kenneth anticipated. She finds the credit card statements he thought he'd hidden. She sees the pattern of hotel charges, restaurant bills for 2, jewelry store purchases. She recognizes the dates, all during his supposed business trips and late nights at the office. She hires a forensic accountant. And that's when things get interesting. The accountant discovers that Kenneth has been using his Helix Pharmaceuticals expense account to fund his affair. $47,000 over 18 months. Conference registrations that were actually hotel rooms. Client dinners that were romantic getaways. Uber charges from Mallory's apartment to his office, all claimed as business transportation. Margaret doesn't go to Kenneth. She goes directly to Helix's HR department with a formal complaint and 300 pages of documentation. Kenneth is suspended pending investigation on May 22nd. By May 30th, the CFO has discovered additional irregularities. Inflated conference costs, phantom vendor payments, creative accounting that crosses the line from questionable to criminal. Kenneth is terminated on June 2nd. Escorted out of the building by security, his access badge deactivated, his company car repossessed from the parking garage. Mallory, whose career has been closely tied to Kenneth's patronage, suddenly finds herself under scrutiny. Her expense reports are audited. Her sales figures are questioned. She's placed on a performance improvement plan, which everyone in corporate America knows is just the first step toward termination. The Caldwell family holds an emergency meeting on June 8th, 1 week before Claire's wedding. I know about it because Simone texts Warren and Warren texts me. They're trying to figure out what to do about the Vincent situation. How to explain my absence at the wedding. Whether to file a missing person report, even though the police already told them back in July that I'm an adult who left voluntarily. Derek is facing foreclosure in 30 days. Kenneth is unemployed and facing embezzlement charges. Mallory's career is circling the drain. Claire's wedding is in 7 days, and she has to explain to everyone why her sister's husband isn't there. The database is complete. Every financial transaction logged. Every lie documented. Every consequence tracked. Time to run the query. I buy a new suit for the wedding. Charcoal gray, tailored to fit my new physique. I've lost 20 pounds over the past year and gained muscle from the gym membership I actually use now. I get my hair cut at a proper barber, not the cheap chain place Mallory always insisted was good enough. On June 15th, I drive from Richmond to Philadelphia, arriving at Marion Cricket Club at 4:30, 30 minutes before the ceremony. The parking lot is already filling with luxury cars. BMWs, Mercedes. I park my car in the back row and check my appearance in the rearview mirror. I look good, better than I have in years. Confident, healthy, free. The wedding coordinator stops me at the gate. Name, please. Vincent Reeves. She scans her list, frowning. Then her eyes widen slightly. Oh, Mr. Reeves. Yes, you're on the list. Welcome. I can see the curiosity in her expression, the gossip she's probably heard about the mysterious missing husband. But she's professional enough not to ask questions. The pre-ceremony gathering is on the club's terrace, overlooking the golf course. I recognize most of the faces. Caldwell family members, Mallory's friends from Helix, Claire's pharmaceutical sales colleagues. The whispers start the moment I walk in. Derek sees me first. He goes pale, nearly dropping his drink. Simone, standing next to him, smiles. It's the first genuine smile I've seen from any of them in years. Richard approaches cautiously, like I'm a wild animal that might bolt. Vincent, son, we've been worried about you. No need for concern, Richard. I've been well. Where have you been? Richmond. Working. Living. Thriving, actually. Derek appears at my elbow, sweating despite the pleasant June weather. Vince, man, we need to talk. Do we? I don't recall scheduling a conversation. It's about the money. The loan. I'm in trouble. I need. Need what, Derek? The loan you were supposed to repay 6 months ago? The loan you spent on cryptocurrency scams after I specifically warned you about diversification? His mouth opens and closes. How did you know about? I'm a data security analyst, Derek. Information is my specialty. The ceremony itself is beautiful. Claire looks genuinely happy, walking down the aisle in her elegant gown. Boyd seems like a decent guy, a commercial pilot with an honest face and straightforward manner. He has no context for the tension radiating from the Caldwell family section, the way everyone keeps glancing at me. I sit in the back row, watching everything. Mallory is the maid of honor, standing at the altar in a blue bridesmaid dress that probably cost more than my monthly rent. She keeps turning to look at me, her expression unreadable. During the vows, when Boyd promises to love and cherish Claire in sickness and health, for better or worse, I see Claire's eyes drift to me. She's crying, and I don't think it's entirely from joy. The reception cocktail hour is where things get interesting. I approach Claire and Boyd while they're making the rounds, thanking guests for coming. Congratulations, I say, handing Claire a small wrapped box. She opens it with trembling hands. Inside is an antique locket, the kind the Caldwell grandmother wore, a piece Claire had always admired. I'd bought it at an estate sale 3 years ago, saving it for a moment that mattered. The card reads, "Wishing you the happiness I once thought I had. May your foundation be stronger than mine was. Vincent." Claire bursts into tears. "Vince, I'm so sorry. That night at the party, what I said. You told the truth, Claire. Mallory was cheating. You just announced it publicly. I was drunk and jealous and cruel. You were drunk. She was cruel. There's a difference." Boyd extends his hand. "I'm Boyd. I've heard a lot about you. All terrible, I'm sure." He smiles. "Actually, Simone speaks very highly of you. She's the only family member Claire trusts completely. Simone has good judgment. Congratulations on your marriage. Protect it." The seating chart puts me at the family table, directly across from Mallory. Claire insisted, apparently. A choice that feels both like penance and provocation. Derek and Diane are also at the table, along with Simone and Richard. The tension is thick enough to cut with the butter knife. We make it through the salad course in near silence. Then Mallory breaks. "So you just disappeared for a year? That's your solution to problems?" I set down my fork carefully. "I didn't disappear, Mallory. I relocated. There's a difference. You abandoned our marriage." Interesting choice of words from someone who spent 18 months sleeping with her boss. Derek starts to interrupt. "Vince, this isn't the place." "You're right, Derek. A wedding isn't the place for financial discussions either. But since you brought it up earlier, that loan you needed, it's been paid. Your house is safe." He stares at me. "What? Why would you?" "Because Simone and your kids don't deserve to lose their home over your mistakes. The payment is conditional. Get your finances under adult control, or I'll demand full repayment within 30 days. With interest." Simone reaches across the table and squeezes my hand. "Thank you, Vincent." Diane finds her voice. "Vincent, we're still family. Surely we can work through this." "Diane, you applauded when your daughter called me a statue in bed. You laughed. What family dynamic am I supposed to work through?" She has no answer for that. Mallory tries a different approach. "Vince, can we talk privately? We can talk right here. I have nothing to hide. Do you?" "This is ridiculous. You're making a scene at Claire's wedding. I'm sitting quietly at dinner. You're the one creating drama." I pull out my tablet, the one I brought specifically for this moment. "Since we're all family here, let me share some data I've collected over the past year." I project my screen so everyone at the table can see. It's a spreadsheet titled Caldwell Family Economics, a case study. The first column details Derek's financial collapse. The crypto investment, the loans from me and his parents, the home equity line, the total loss of $293,000. Current status, foreclosure prevented by my payment. A note at the bottom. Perhaps investment banking should involve less gambling with other people's money. Derek's face turns purple. "How do you have all this?" "Public records. Court filings. You're surprisingly easy to research." The second column shows Mallory's professional trajectory at Helix Pharmaceuticals. Performance reviews declining sharply since 2024. Current status, performance improvement plan. Projected outcome, termination within 60 days. Expense account irregularities, $12,000 in inflated client entertainment charges. Mallory goes pale. You hacked my company files. I filed a Freedom of Information request with the State Pharmaceutical Board regarding marketing practices. All public record. You'd be surprised what's legally available. The third column is Kenneth Brandt. Termination from Helix in May. Embezzlement charges pending. Expense account fraud totaling $47,000. Divorce proceedings filed by Margaret Brandt. Child support obligations, $6,000 monthly. Current employment, none. Current relationship status, unknown. Kenneth said those charges were dismissed, Mallory whispers. Kenneth lied. The state attorney general is investigating. Margaret's forensic accountant found enough for a criminal referral. The fourth column is mine. New career as senior cybersecurity consultant. Income increase of 47%. Residence, Richmond, Virginia. Relationship status, casually dating. Mental health, significantly improved. Legal status, divorce finalized in February 2025. Mallory's wine glass slips from her hand. What? When? You never responded to the petition I left you last June. After 8 months of non-response, the court granted an uncontested divorce. You've been legally single since February. You didn't notice? The table has gone completely silent. Other guests are starting to stare. Diane's voice shakes. Vincent, why are you doing this? Because a year ago, I sat at a table while your family mocked me, belittled me, laughed at my humiliation, and I realized something important. Richard leans forward. What's that? That I was the only one at that table with actual self-respect. I stand, finishing my wine. Claire, congratulations again. Beautiful ceremony. Boyd, protect your marriage better than I protected mine. I turn to Mallory. Kenneth's bankrupt and unemployed. You're about to be terminated. Your affair destroyed 2 marriages and multiple careers. Was it worth it? She's crying now. I loved him. No. You loved what he represented. Status. Excitement. Escape from a boring husband. But here's what you didn't understand. Boring is another word for stable. Predictable is another word for reliable. And a statue doesn't crumble when storms hit. I pick up the crystal vase I brought as a gift for the bride and groom. Baccarat. Expensive, elegant. This is for you both. May your foundation be stronger. I walk toward the exit. Derek's voice stops me. Vince. Wait. Thank you. For the house payment. Thanks, Simone. She deserved better than watching you destroy your family over greed. Simone stands. Vincent, will we see you again? Probably not. I've closed that database. Time to build new data structures. The drive back to Richmond feels different than the drive up. Lighter. I've said everything I needed to say. Done everything I needed to do. The file is closed. Warren calls me the next morning. So, how was the nuclear option? Efficient. Clean. Complete. Need to debrief in person? Not necessary. But hold on to this. I pull up my encrypted cloud storage and send him access credentials via secure message. Everything's there. Financial records, timeline documentation, evidence archives. Why am I getting this? He asks. Because you're the only person who never treated me like I was less than I am. What am I supposed to do with it? Nothing, probably. But if they ever try to rewrite history, you'll have the data. Warren is quiet for a moment. You're really done with all of them? I spent 9 years with someone who saw me as a placeholder. A boring, stable placeholder until something more exciting came along. Then I spent a year watching her learn that exciting doesn't mean better. Do you feel vindicated? I feel free. Warren is quiet for a long moment. Well, brother, I think I'm going to put on some Tom Petty and toast to your freedom. I won't back down seems appropriate. Really? That's a bit on the nose. You literally didn't back down for 12 months. I think it fits. I smile. Thanks for being the anchor, War. That's what friends do. We stay put while you navigate the storms. Take care of yourself. You too. We end the call. 6 months pass. December in Richmond is cold but manageable. My apartment is nicer now, still minimalist, but with actual personal touches. Framed architecture prints that my girlfriend Andrea gave me. We met in September at a bookstore in Carytown, both reaching for the same book on urban design. She's an architecture professor at VCU, And she thinks my methodical nature is an asset, not a flaw. A bookshelf with books I actually want to read, not the self-help nonsense Mallory always bought. Photos of Richmond's historic neighborhoods. The phone rings. Unknown Philadelphia number. I almost don't answer, but curiosity wins. Vince Reeves. Hi. It's Claire. Please don't hang up. I won't. What do you need? I'm not calling because I need anything. I'm calling to update you. I'm listening. Mallory was terminated from Helix in August. She moved to Baltimore. She's working as an administrative assistant at a dental office. Kenneth's in court fighting embezzlement charges. Margaret got full custody and most of the assets. And this impacts me how? It doesn't. I just thought you'd want to know. I stopped tracking them in July. Once the database was complete, there was nothing left to analyze. She's quiet for a moment. Derek and Simone are in counseling. He's working a regular job now. No more crypto schemes. Good. Simone deserves stability. Mom and Dad asked me to reach out. They want to apologize. Tell them I appreciate the sentiment, but I'm not interested in reconnection. I understand. Another pause. Boyd and I are expecting. Found out last week. Congratulations. Truly. Thank you. And Vince, thank you for coming to the wedding. I know it cost you something. It gave me closure. Worth it. One more thing. Warren sent me a photo last week. You and a woman at his record store. She's beautiful. I smile. Her name is Andrea. She's an architecture professor at VCU. We've been seeing each other for 3 months. Is it serious? It's promising. She thinks my data analysis stories are fascinating instead of boring. That's how you know it's real. Exactly. I won't call again unless you want me to. But I am genuinely sorry for everything. I know. I forgive you, Claire. I just can't forget. That's fair. Take care of yourself, Vince. You too. I close my laptop and look around the apartment. Andrea will be here soon with her favorite Chinese food. We'll eat dinner and watch a documentary about urban planning, her area of expertise. She'll explain the theory behind transit-oriented development, and I'll find it genuinely interesting because she's passionate about it. They asked if I'd cry when Mallory cheated. I didn't cry. I disappeared. And then I rebuilt. Not on the foundation of their family and their casual cruelty, but on the data I'd always trusted, facts, patterns, evidence. The truth didn't make me a statue. It made me unbreakable. The doorbell rings. Andrea, right on time, carrying bags of food and wearing the smile that makes me believe in second chances. New chapter, new data, new life. The database is complete, and the query returned exactly the results I expected, freedom. Dear listeners, that's our ending. If it resonated, subscribe to support the channel. See you next time.